Alright, EA Ermor turned 68. Let's see, Earthquake Trap Part 2. I did change the scripting. A lot of effort went into that army, so I would like to protect it. We'll see if it helps. Yeah, here's some arrows, and of course, we're just summoning in a ton of stuff. Only one arrow, though, right? So he could be running out of air gems, assuming he didn't get a giant death basket. So we got lucky here. This might be a Twist Fate amulet, or, we may have just gotten lucky. And then, oh yeah, the war is definitely in full swing. So probably some of these are Cloud Trapeze attacks. Oh yeah, this looks like the Earthquake Trap. Okay, so I put in 2 Twist Fates before the Communion goes up. We still have our turn 1 mass protection, so our troops are going to have some help against the Earthquake, but not a ton. This isn't his... Oh wait, no, it is his Pretender. Okay, that's not good. Because his Pretender can get off, looks like, about 2 Earthquakes before he falls asleep. But yeah, he's got another guy here, so he's going to get off more Earthquakes than I was expecting. So yeah, we very well may lose this. We're not going to lose it, but we may lose the Communion. So very glad that I switched this up, and we're going to see, how effective this is, right? We have our Long Dead Horseman going for it. There's the mass protection. It's faster. Okay, the Communion looks like they mostly survived. Yeah, there's still some Twist Fate on guys. This guy lost his Twist Fate, but hopefully he will be casting another Twist Fate. I think some of them went off script because they still have their Twist Fate on them. It's not a guarantee that they get hit by Earthquake. So the Communion should be... Yeah, the Communion's going up now. There's another Earthquake, so we're not getting too many distracts off. It does look like we lost a few augurs. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so we've lost 4 augurs so far, although he's lost his Thunder Priest as well as one of his summons. We are burning gems here, which is very sad, right? Full gem usage. He has a Ring of Returning on his Pretender, which I did not mention before, kind of missed that. So we're probably not going to kill him outright. If he takes any damage, he will immediately just pop back home. So we need to get like a one-hit kill on him, which is going to be fairly tough. He's not that tanky, but like his protection is high enough, and he has pretty good magic resistance, so we're unlikely to get the Soul Slay. So we're probably just going to do some chip damage, and yeah, I think he just popped back home. Let's take a look at the unit overview. Yeah, so we no longer see his god listed anywhere, right, in the commander list, so that's an indicator that he, popped back home. He didn't actually die, so we didn't get the kill on his Pretender there. There is one Werebear left. This is one of his cap onlys. We should get the kill on this guy eventually. It'll take us a second. Yeah. So, that hurt, absolutely, but most of our Communion survived, right? We can handle a loss of 4 augurs. Okay, we also had an augur retreat. That's not ideal, but, yeah. I made some other changes we'll talk about. This could have gone a lot worse, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, whew, dodged another bullet. And very glad that, I changed up that script. So troop-wise, right, we lose some of our infantry, we lose a few of our sacreds, we lose a fire snake. Kind of curious about the Long-Dead Horsemen. We probably lose a good amount of them. Actually, not too many, right? They don't have very many hit points, so in a lot of ways, they're very susceptible to Earthquake, but they do have decent defense, and they don't care about the dark, so their defense isn't reduced by being in the cave. And we lose quite a few slingers, right? Because they have like no protection. So yeah, but like losing slingers, especially at this point, that's fine. And then of course this is not without loss for him. So while his god like teleports home, which is great, that's a ton of gear that he saves. He loses a summon, and he loses a cap only who had gear, and he loses a Thunder Priest, right? Which we've talked about. This is pretty much the only guys other than the Archmages that can do this kind of Earthquake Trap, and there was quite a bit of gear, at least on the Thunder Priest. Let's see if his cap-only commander... I don't think his cap-only commander actually had any gear. I think he was just here to make bugs. Yeah, and he also summoned in some sprites, which is pretty cool, right? They do the fatigue damage. It's just a different way of like giving some cover. So no gear loss on him, but fairly significant, like this item alone, right? That's 25 gems. And then this is 10 gems. This one's only 5, so that's not too bad. Of course, he was carrying quite a few gems. We burned a bunch of gems, right? This did, I wouldn't even say bait out our gems. Like, we probably wanted to use gems for, a threat this major. So yeah, not without loss for us, but not without loss for him either. So yeah, that you know, like I said, could have gone a whole lot worse. So yeah, then we're getting attacked here. Oh, this is sad. We were sending out, so I was actually going to just march through Ulm's territory, right, to do some raiding. And I sent him some gems for passage because I wasn't going to bother sending him a message. Of course, now I just sent him gems because this is the forest that I was going to march through his territory. And it's getting jumped on by this guy. We've seen him before. Ooh, he's a hero now. Has he always been a hero? Heroic quickness. Ooh, that's rough. But this guy he's given him a lot of reinvigoration items. That's very cool, right? So that is one of the problems with quickness is you can fall asleep. Wow, reinvigoration 14. Yeah, he's got 4 reinvigoration items on him. So yeah, this guy is going to be super dangerous. Like magic duel, I think, is really the main weakness because otherwise he's going to be a huge problem, and he's absolutely going to wipe out this army here, or not army, raiding group. Yeah, probably should have moved these guys out sooner. I was patrolling down some unrest there, and it was going to be kind of awkward trying to move through Ulm's territory, but should have just bit the bullet and moved through Ulm's territory sooner, because then, we wouldn't have got hopped on in all likelihood. But that's fine. We know that the Russ raids pretty well, and that this player is good at raiding, so we're going to lose stuff. And in that vein, here comes more of these guys. But he's only got so many, right? Yeah, this is the guy with the shade mail. And did he run into our trap? No, he did not run into our trap. Oh, okay, so he's locking down one of our forts, and that's totally a smart idea. I didn't bother patrolling my forts because I wasn't sure he was going to risk it. But we do have some mages running around, although not as many mages. This fort actually might be empty of mages. But anyway, we can definitely get him off. Kind of the same weakness, right? This magic duel, especially like alone. I think maybe I'm sure he knows about magic duel, right? This player seems good enough. So maybe he just thinks I don't know about it, because I haven't really used it too much. Yeah, here's a guy who's got some astral support, right? So it's going to be a little harder to magic duel this guy. Oh, also he has no astral. Cannot magic duel someone if they do not have astral. But he does run into, so there's the magic duel, and it looks like we lost a guy due to blood vengeance. Yeah, so we lost 2 guys, so I'm assuming that probably one of them lost the magic duel, right? Which definitely happens. And then this guy maybe also lost the magic duel. No, because we killed his commander, right? But yeah, blood vengeance, there you go. So I wasn't sure if magic duel was going to trigger the blood vengeance, but it looks like it definitely does. And I guess now I should probably talk a little bit about magic duel. It's a weird spell. It only is usable by astral wizards, and you can only use it against astral wizards. You have to use a astral pearl to cast it, and then the casting mage randomly selects an astral wizard from the enemy's side, right? And then both sides roll a not open-ended, which is unusual for dominions, right? So it's just a d6, and then you add your astral level unmodified, so boosters don't help you. The only thing that really helps you, as far as I know, is actually empowering a mage. So anyway, both sides take their base astral level and add that to the result of their roll. And then, whoever wins the roll, they live. Whoever loses the roll dies. And if you tie, both parties die. So it's definitely an expensive way to get rid of enemy astral mages. And you can't realistically use it against a strong astral power. But if you're a fairly strong astral power and you're up against someone who's a weaker astral power, it's kind of a good way to shut down anything of theirs that has astral magic. It's a very divisive spell. I know some people really dislike it, and I think there's mods out there that remove it. I don't have too much experience. This is really one of my first times using it. And we're certainly not out of the woods yet, right? So we got rid of the commander, but again, this guy has no astral. And he's going to be pretty scary, and we don't have a ton here. I think we're going to make a fire elemental. Yeah, there we go. So the fire elemental, we're hopefully going to make a second fire elemental. The fire elementals are really the only realistic way that we're going to, get a kill on this guy, and there is a little bit of danger that we HP route from all of our PD dying. We sent our bugs in, but the bugs are going to do nothing, both because this guy, actually, does he have any poison resistance? No, he doesn't. But the mist form will probably prevent the bugs from actually being able to do any damage. So, we've sent out both of our fire elementals, and if the fire elementals can't pull it off, then, that's it. There's no way. Now, the fire elementals, right, aren't going to care about a lot of his defenses, but they will care about that Doomglaive. That's definitely scary. And he probably has, no, he doesn't have regeneration on himself, but he does turn into a bear. And our first fire elemental is already down a couple sizes and like not doing so hot. And of course like the blood vengeance and everything. So I'm not sure like 2 fire elementals are quite going to be enough. He does have some fire resistance, so we're not going to fatigue him out or anything like that. But you can see some fire resistance is not enough against, you know, fire elementals. So hopefully he chooses something else to attack. Nope, he chose our fire elemental again. Good choice. That is very sad. I think we have some casters set to... No, nobody's set to advance and cast. That's actually kind of unfortunate. So yeah, he takes out the fire elementals, and you know, we don't actually... We deal damage, but we don't get any afflictions on him. Okay, now we're trying to soul slay him. Magic resistance only 18. That's good. So, you know, our guys have finally done every buff under the sun, and now are actually, you know, trying to cast something useful. But there's a good chance, yeah, Mind Burn is probably not going to be as useful. Soul Slay we like. So it's just a question of, like, can we get through his magic resistance, you know, before he kills everything? And he's killed all of our front line. Like, we have some of our, yeah, you know, the ethereal doesn't matter. Armies of Ermor are routed. So that's unfortunate, and we're probably going to lose these communion slaves. Yeah, so this is expensive for both of us, but I think on the balance, worse for me. Because I'm going to lose a lot more mages here. Yeah, we don't need to watch this guy kill these. So let's see, I think that was Troll Canyons. Yeah, so we lose a lot, right? we lose 6 mages. He only loses 1 mage. But it does mean that this guy is uncovered, and we can try to mind hunt him. So in that sense, like, maybe it was worth it. Yeah, I guess we just needed more fire elementals. These are definitely some tough thugs. Let's see. Yeah, so we had a few guys retreat. Yeah, the couple shamans and an augur retreated. So, you know, not the best counter, considering we didn't keep the province, but not the worst either. And then, of course, you know, we're not sitting back now, so we've got our own raids heading out. Not sure which one this is. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is our Lich with Devils, and of course, yeah, he left no PD. This was the guy who had the Shade Mail, who we just saw somewhat recently, and like, yeah, with the Devils, and this is way more stuff than you need for just a little bit of PD, but it does work out for us. No losses. We like to see that. And then we have another raid here. Of course, that's just us taking back our own territory. Right, this is Flaming Arrows on the Slingers. And yeah, he just chose to leave a little bit of Barbarian PD. I don't even know if this is going to trigger gem usage. A little bit curious. We don't have a ton of stuff here, but yeah, so this didn't trigger gem usage. And we may lose, you know, a few fellows, but yeah, we lose 1 leve. We can handle that. So that raid also works out. Of course, there's a good chance that, you know, air elementals and stuff get dropped on them. And then there was a battle in Agartha. Okay, so he did choose to move forward, right? And like, yeah, so he's coming at us hard, and this is, you know, maybe, I don't know what this is. So he doesn't have a ton of caster support, but right, we knew that. He doesn't have a ton of casters like in this area, right? And this is also very vulnerable to magic duel. Little less actually, because, you know, the higher the astral mage that's there, the less likely, you know, we're just going to be using astral 1s to try to magic duel. So astral 3s absolutely can be, you know, dueled by astral 1s, but it gets more expensive, right? You have to use more and more of them. And otherwise, like, yeah, he just does a pile of bears in his sacreds, and, you know, like that. This is scary stuff. We just have a little bit of PD. It's not going to stop him. The most important thing is, yeah, he did not get the 1-turn crack on Agartha, right? So that is important. We'll take a look at like how much wall strength we actually have and how many turns we're likely to get. And then he attacked us in our capital as well. And this is kind of good, and I wasn't really patrolling here. Probably should have been. But yeah, like we can magic duel this guy as well. And like, yeah, this way I can't do as much recruitment, and I also lose a ton of gold this way, right? Because this is 2 capitals this turn that are getting locked down, so it's really going to cut into my recruitment on any other forts. So yeah, probably should have patrolled these, but you know, he hadn't really raided on top of any of my forts yet, so I wasn't expecting him to. But so yeah, this was nicely done by him, and he locks down 2 capitals. And then we have a few more of our own raids coming out. Right, this is the really light swarm raid. We're not expecting, yeah, any resistance. So let's see, can one caveman beat a pile of bugs? You know, dominions, asking the important questions. Okay, it's good we got our second pile of bugs out. Okay, so no, he cannot defeat a pile of bugs. And that works out for us. And of course, you know, this also might get jumped on top of. This is not going to stop basically any response that Russ has, but it's also a very cheap raid. So, you know, it's kind of okay if he jumps on top of it. So we're, kind of trying to do a mix of like really light groups and heavier groups. And then I actually flip-flopped. So our army that just got the earthquake trap sprung on it, it's actually going to jump on top of that palisade that we had locked down by the one bird. Ooh, what happened here? Oh, bats. And we sent this small group of Ostadi out to raid the other cave that our main army was going to move into, which, yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But I was just feeling like that army, especially because there's a good chance that it was going to get an earthquake trap sprung on it, it would be nice if it had like a fort that it could draw like augurs. If we can start recruiting augurs out of there, we can ship them to that army much more easily. And the other nice thing is we cannot be magic phased on top of when we're on top of one of his forts. So I think that was here. Yeah, so we take that. Zots are not great and, fairly minimal PD, so that's no problem. And of course that group could get jumped on top of as well, right? And this is kind of our heavier raid near our capital, but yeah, unlikely to, so he did manage to find some undead leadership, nice, for those corpse constructs. So he does have quite a few stealthy commanders, it seems like. So yeah, we're gonna take this no problem. Hopefully it won't trigger any gem usage either. This is just minimal PD, and our skelly spam, should be enough to carry the day. So yeah, let's see if there is any losses. Nope, so we take that back, but it's also minimal PD, so Russ doesn't really care so much about that, especially considering he just locked down 2 of our forts. So I think on the balance, Russ came out ahead in the raiding war again, using the mage for pinging and like, got lucky. Body ethereal. Okay, that's interesting. So, okay, this fort is empty. So maybe she's just gonna try to, nope. Yeah, so like I'm not sure what Femorio was thinking there, but he at least knows that that's an empty fort now. I feel like there are cheaper ways to garner that information, but hey, I'm busy losing to Russ, so let's just focus on that. And then yeah, speaking of like more danger, so this is like an assault. Okay, so this is Jabalba taking a peek inside Machaka's capital, and this fort is absolutely not empty. It is packed with a ton of casters, no gems, which is a little sad, or at least not very many gems. And like, yeah, he's got a bunch of sages here as well. Looks like no pearls really. It looks like his god is here. So this is a divine glyph, which is not a particularly scary chassis, but it's a high level astral caster. It can still do dangerous things, absolutely, especially this late in the game. And like, yeah, he just has like a lone skelly spammer, so these guys are pretty cheap. And I could maybe see this conceivably working, because like skelly spam can take a fort, especially like if it's empty. But it's the capital, so I don't know. Pretty unlikely to be empty, I suppose. So anyway, he at least now knows what's inside it, and he had a chance. Okay, maybe he retreats here, so that's kind of cool. Throw a couple skeletons out, yeah, just do some harass. But it doesn't really work out. But he does know what's in the fort now, which I'm sure, is the main thing he was worried about. And it looks like the Nephil giants are finally getting around to attacking us. Yep, here they are. Oh no, this is our army. I guess maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, you can see there's definitely a lot less stuff. Maybe had some retreats of units. I didn't really pay too much attention to that. But yeah, these guys aren't going to be blessed, right? Which is a pretty big deal because Niflheim's bless is quite strong. Also, our long dead horsemen don't care about the cold. So while they're definitely going to get killed by the giants, we actually managed to enslave one. That's kind of cool. So yeah, that works out for us actually. And I don't think we burn gems. We may not have any gems to burn, so that's kind of a good thing. Yeah, lose a little bit of province income. That's fine. We have misfortune. We prevent some misfortune with one of our augurs. Always nice. We breach that palisade with our main army in one turn. That's good, although I think it's empty, so no great feat. And then yeah, we're under siege in Ermor, but it's just a thug, so not too worried about that. And then another one of our forts under siege by a thug, not too worried about that. And then we talked about Agartha. So yeah, I'll see you guys after the jump. All right. This is the situation and what we're doing about it. As you can see, we have 3 forts being locked down by Russ. We haven't really regained any Agarthan territory here. We've been raided back just a little bit. We've done an okay job raiding back our territory in the north, but overall, I would say that we are losing this war currently, but not too badly, and I do still think it can swing around, although Russ continues to be challenging. So what they've done this turn, so this is their capital, and there's a ton of stuff here again. However, importantly, it's mostly corpse constructs, right? We can see skin shifters have moved way down in the list, right? It lists the most numerous units first. which is great news, right? Because obviously it's his sacreds that we're worried about. But what Russ has done is recruited every single mercenary group that's out there. Very nice. So, he's basically like army in a bottle, and like he's ready to roll out again here. And this is going to be fairly tough for us to stop. And then, of course, he's done a good job too, right? He's canceled a turn of recruitment with his thug raids in a very relevant area. So we're not going to get a turn of recruitment, of gladiators and augurs here, which is going to be really annoying. And I'm kind of expecting he's just, going to try to go 1, 2, 3, because of course he could lose the mercenaries after 3 months when their contract's up, and we may try to convince the mercenaries to come over to our side. But yeah, rather than us, going on the offensive against his capital, it's kind of looking like he's going to be able to go against our capital, like, on the offensive against us. But the position of these thugs is relatively tenuous. We have breakout attempts on both forts. I'm not going to go through everything. There's a decent chance it's going to work. We have mixed in like magic duel like everywhere that we can, and so for an astral 1 against an astral 1, basically there's about a 60% chance that his guy dies, because of course both parties die in the event of a tie, and I mean, there's like a 40% chance we lose the augur, but an unkitted augur with 1 astral pearl versus his slow to recruit cap only with full slots, I'll take those odds every single time. So pretty much from here forward, we're going to have like magic duel almost everywhere. Our astral income is pitiful, so that is going to be a bit of a challenge, but we should be able to pull it off. I am expecting these thugs to pull out and probably try to join his army right in the main attack. This guy is the guy who can stealth, so I think he stealths out. I'm hoping that the guy on top of Ermor tries to come here, right, because he's probably thinking that there's a decent chance I recombine these two forces. That was my first inclination, is take both these forces, move him here, try to block his movement out. Pretty much the only way he escapes with the non-stealth guy is if he moves here. I don't think flaming arrows can stop him, but I also don't think that flaming arrows is likely, whatever he chooses to move out to stop this super obvious raid. He's seen what this is, so I think he's a good enough player. Like, we would just be sending this to its death. However, we are going to move our assassin. Like, I don't know, no thunder priests. So our assassin is going to try to assassinate, the response team that comes out, because I'm thinking there's a decent chance he just moves a few mages out to deal with this, right? Because, he doesn't want to sit here with the mercenaries letting their contract expire. He could move out with his entire army this way, but it's a little bit longer, right? So this will take 1, 2, 3, 4 to get onto my capital. So anyway, I think there's a good chance that, we pick up some mages there. Otherwise, we're just moving out like an anti-raiding party into like every province that he could potentially move to on this turn. So if any of those trigger, next turn we'll talk about them. We are mind hunting this fellow, right, who's had his astral protection removed, and his magic resistance, as I recall, I think it's only 16. So fingers crossed, two mind hunts with penetration gear. Now that lady is gone, which is important. So only magic resistance 16, so there's a fair chance we kill him with the mind hunts, hopefully. We haven't had a ton of success. We are just going to send in, we have a lizard shaman left over from this engagement, actually, and he just happens to have a nature gem on him, so he's just going to make some bugs and hopefully recapture this province for us. If the mind hunts don't work, we're sending him to his death, but, that's how it goes. Obviously, we're summoning in more stuff. We're going to bring in another Lar, more fire snakes, all kinds of good stuff here in Agartha. Agartha is pretty badly damaged. We're only going to get 1 more turn of nonsense before he cracks it. Pretty good chance he moves, all this stuff right on top of it to prepare for the assault, and also pretty good chance he starts to, raid out with small groups of sacred. So we're going to lose some more territory here, right? And then here's the guy who jumped in and wiped out our legionaries. So he's going to start taking provinces as well. Almost all of this stuff. So we're going to keep patrolling for now, just with our legionary infantry, just so that the fort doesn't look completely empty. But we're going to gateway all of this stuff, which I think is going to be more relevant. I don't think the legionaries are really going to help us too much in Agartha. Whereas our sacreds and the gladiators and the fire snakes, absolutely. So anyway, these guys are gatewaying into Agartha, right? And they're going to help defend against that assault. And I have pretty high hopes. I actually think there's a fair chance that we crush him if he comes in. So I'm hoping he just, comes at us running and, doesn't poke his head in and be cautious. We'll see. There's an outside chance that we actually just attempt to force a battle immediately with a breakout. I haven't really decided. Don't have to make a decision yet. We have a little bit of time. And again, this is very brittle. Like, while he has some powerful stuff and has been doing great, raiding, like once he loses this army, there's just absolutely nothing behind it. We did find another force here, but again, this is pretty pitiful, right? Like, a few Rusian wizards and some corpse constructs. That's not really an army. So, we're still trying to move, like, this is another assassin. So if this is moving home, like, we'll hopefully assassinate one of those Rusian wizards. We'll see. And it's not impossible that there's a larger force here, which we'll hopefully see next turn if that is moving down. But it's kind of looking like, Rus doesn't, right? They have what they have in their capital. And they have what they have in the north, both of which are looking fairly scary, although, again, the capital force is greatly reduced in the number of skin shifters. And, like, that's it. And so we're also going to try to lock down. We're casting Arouse Hunger, and, we don't have a ton of death income, and was really hoping to make more liches, but I don't know. I'm not sure that the liches are really going to help us that much yet. And, like, we need quite a few death gems. We're not going to be able to get that many liches. So I don't know. Maybe better to save them for the liches, but we're going to try to lock down Helheim, right? Because it's probably just 6 PD, and, we should be able to lock it down with ghouls. And then that's income that he's not getting from one of his capitals, right? So kind of doing the same thing to him. Definitely have some plans for, like, his, his actual capital in terms of remote attack spells, but we kind of want this force to move out first, and then we'll start to hit it with remote attack spells. We're also, busy summoning a bunch of stuff. We are very gold limited this turn. We're not really doing any gladiator recruitment. We are still able to get out, like, full mage recruitment, other than, of course, the places, that are locked down. Can't recruit mages out of there. It's mostly augur recruitment, and then, of course, our army went here to this palisade, right, the one that survived the earthquake trap. There's a pretty good chance that, he teleports somebody in, or cloud trapezes somebody into this fort to do yet another earthquake trap, and, like, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Like, we're gonna continue to bleed augurs. I've left the delayed communion in place. It worked decently well. The advantage of taking this, right, is this is actually like a 3-gem province, or excuse me, it's a 4-gem province. So, like, this is pretty significant, right? Even capitals only give, I think, 6 gems in the early age, right? So this is a fairly big gem swing. And then, like I said, we'll be able to recruit augurs out of this fort, and we'll be able to do, gem resupplies, and it's going to be a hassle for him to take back. Like, yeah, he can lock it down with one of his thugs, but then it's just going to sit on it, and he's not going to be able to break down the walls. And we can start to recruit legionary infantry out of here, for small little raiding groups that, are going to be cheap and annoying for him to deal with, and he's going to have to drop on them. So I do think this is worthwhile, right? But, it does really slow down our army. It was already going to be, pretty slow moving to get over to Helheim. And, like, there's a fair chance that this war is kind of over, right, before this army really gets in position to do any serious damage. So he may also just choose to ignore it, right? He tried the earthquake trap, a couple times, hasn't really worked out super great. So that would be nice if he stops trying to earthquake it, but probably he keeps trying to earthquake it. And, like, sure, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna lose stuff, but we should be able to take this fort, which is gonna be a fairly significant gem swing. And yeah, I think it's gonna be worth it. And then from there, right, like, yeah, we just move through. Hopefully we'll have Helheim locked down. We can throw, like, the ghouls forward to mess with stuff. We're actually backtracking with one of our assassins. We do see a Thunder Priest here. I thought they could only be foreign recruited. I'll have to double check that. Because, like, this is a forest, but there's a fort here, and there's a Thunder Priest. Did he just move in? Did he cloud trapeze him? Is he recruiting him here? Regardless, if he is recruiting him here, we're going to send the assassin over, to make sure that doesn't happen. And yeah, I think that more or less covers, kind of our war. The other really big news, which we can't really see yet, I don't think, but based off the game chat, it sounds like Niflheim and Therados are now fighting, which is really good news because, it should keep Niflheim relatively busy. Although, I think Niflheim is so big and so strong that, like, if we get too weak, he's definitely going to look at our throne like, yeah, we're always going to have to worry about Niflheim, but we have to worry a lot less now that conflict has started. So that is very good news. And then it looks like Femoria did manage to jump on top of Ulm's capital and crack it, and just in one turn. And, Ulm was patrolling with a bunch of stuff, so it's possible that we already missed, this final battle and that Ulm doesn't really have much left. But in case, we know that this fort is empty, right? So we're going to go try to see what's going to happen for this storm. And of course, once that war finishes, Fomoriya will be, a free agent, and they'll have pretty significant armies in the area. So, if hopefully I can convince them to go after Russ, or, maybe they want to tangle with Vanheim, like maybe they have other problems. Jabalba, they do border Therados, so like there's a lot of different ways Fomoriya could go, but one of the ways they could possibly go is, kind of move into us. I think it's a little less likely because like there's a horror here that kind of sucks, and it's mostly like, Russ is raiding. And anyway, it's possible that, Fomoriya might want to tangle with us. We definitely need to think about the fact that there are going to be like clearly pretty significant armies, or at least one significant army here. And it will probably cut into what we get from Russ realistically, because again, this is looking pretty open, and Fomoriya is probably at least somewhat aware of that. So yeah, I guess the only other thing is research. So we're just going for Alt 9. Our research is slowing down, quite a bit, but still we'll have it in like 6 turns, which I think the game will still be going on in 6 turns. Maybe we've lost the war with Russ in 6 turns time. Maybe not. But of course, the main thing that gets us is the army-wide protection buffs, Army of Gold, Army of Lead, some of the best spells in the game, and actually will combine pretty well with Firestorm, which is a fire wipe that we don't quite have access to, actually. We need one more level of evocation research, so it's going to be a little while before we can, pull that combo off, but that would be really effective against a lot of Russ's stuff, especially like those corpse constructs. We have some other plans for his sacreds, which, we'll talk about once we get closer, but yeah, I think that covers turn 68.